All right, and welcome back to The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs, the audio engineer, Absolute Intense Wrestling. I'm here with the owner, John Thorne, bringing another episode of The Card is Going to Change. I know we've been a little sporadic lately. We told you that wasn't going to happen, but shit just keeps happening. Am I right, John? Now what the damn car got stolen?
Shit happens. Shit is happening.
Shit happens, dude.
Unbelievable. What a just fucking awful, chaotic week, and looks like there's no end in sight, to be perfectly honest with you. Well, I guess I'll just get into that. Tuesday night, I was watching the Cavs game. It was like a West Coast game, so I was up pretty late.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, went to bed around 12:30 or something like that. Get up to go to work, all that jazz. No car.
Go outside and it's just not there,
just gone.
What a feeling.
It is a real weird feeling.
Do you do you double take, think wait a minute, did I not wait a minute, you scratch your head what the fuck for a second, your brain can't register it at first because you're so caught off guard?
It's very strange. You take a peek outside, to see if it's I don't know where else it would be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're wait a minute.
Just take a look, take a gander, and no broken glass or anything like that, and then I go, fuck. So I usually take a bag with me to work, and it's got, all these little, pockets and shit in it. So my wallet's usually in there, all this other, my lunch, shit I need for work. I just take a book bag with me every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I shit you not, probably 4 days a week, I forget the car, or I forget the bag in the car,
Yeah, just leave it in there.
Then I go, fuck, my wallet with everything, all my credit cards and everything. I was like, that's in the fucking car, and at that point, it's just the most defeated feeling. But I discover, no, it's in my kitchen. So, that was a small little victory,
yeah.
I suppose.
Wow.
So I at least had my wallet, so I didn't have to go through that whole headache of a process. So, I call the police, and, they say they'll get out when they can. I have to, I have to call off work. I have to call my work because, I have, an all-access badge that is hanging from my rearview mirror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get into the garage and through all these locked doors that you can't get into. So that's a big security issue for my job. So I have to I make that call, and then I just kind of wait, and the cops came about 4 hours after I called, which you can't really get that mad at them because when he arrives, he's like, listen, you are already the 10th stolen car of the morning, and you called at 6:45. He was like, and I got 10 more to go to after you. He's just like, this is just what is going on, you just, it's a nationwide problem. And he was just like, it's so hard for us to keep up on all this stuff because he said that 10, 20 a day just in my little area where I live. And he's like, that doesn't count the suburbs, the other areas of Cleveland. He's just like, this is, it seemed like, the cop that came to my house, that is all he does is goes and gathers information from car owners. And he was just like, this is just an everyday thing. It's just, a nationwide problem. And he's just like, if you have a Kia or a Hyundai, it's almost not if, it's when it's going to get yanked. And he's just like, you don't have any cameras at your house. sometimes they dump it around the corner. Sometimes, you never know where they're going to wind up. So, like, he was just like, honestly, like, it's just a waiting game at this point. And then, I had to wait to get, like, an official police report number and all that. And then I had to call my insurance, which, then that becomes a whole other, like, please hold, let me transfer you.
Yeah.
Like a whole mess of a thing that, is very time consuming and frustrating. And, finally I get all that squared away, and they're like, okay, if it's not recovered in 7 days, it is deemed unrecoverable. And then we just, start the process of, determining the value of the car and, paying you out and all that shit. So I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a waiting game. And they're like, we'll give you $25 a day for a rental, which, newsflash, like, is not a thing.
Yeah, it hasn't been that rate in fucking years.
Right. So luckily, it's kind of killed two birds with one stone, because there's this big debate about allowing my 85-year-old grandmother, who is has some early onset dementia, if she should drive or not. So I was able to ask to borrow her car. So I've solved two problems.
Yeah.
But I'm driving this, like, gigantic old lady boat car. You know what I mean?
Because then it's almost like, you didn't take it from her. She's letting you borrow it. You know what I mean? So it works out for grandma, too, because then you don't, like, strip her of her dignity. We're not letting you drive. She's just doing John Boy a favor. You know what I mean? She's just taking care of her grandson. Right.
It's a little reverse psychology in a way. But,
absolutely.
I wish I didn't. Wish I didn't need it, but...
Yeah,
so,
tough, right?
The cops told me, like, to check malls and things like that. And, I don't know if you remember this, but this happened to Chuck Stone a couple months ago.
Dude,
and so
we've literally talked about this backstage. We've been, like, talked about how you have a Kia, I have a Kia, other people drive Hyundais. We're all, like, we're all waiting for our cars to get stolen, and yours fucking did. Like, that's insane. We literally have had this conversation.
Yeah, so I was talking to him, and I was like, where'd they find your car? And he was like, at a mall. So, like, over the week, I would drive through, like, parking lots, like, I'd check at, like, Giant Eagles, or I'd, drive around the mall, and, you know what I mean? They said, like, they just kind of stash them in, like, these highly populated parking lots.
Yeah.
I guess this is work as a little tutorial for anybody out there who may get their Kia or Hyundai stolen in the near future.
Right.
But so I'm doing that, and nothing, no luck, obviously. Monday was day 6. So today, as we're recording this, would have been my payout day. So I talked to my dad on Sunday, and he's just like, you should just start calling the impound, because they may not call you, right when they get it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, sometimes these cars are towed and, like, whatever. So I was off work Monday. I had, like, a missed call. Like, I had a few missed calls, but they didn't leave a message. And, I mean, I don't think anybody answers calls that they don't have stored on their phone these days.
Dude, yeah, right. 2023, who's just picking up especially because your phone nowadays will say, like, if it doesn't recognize it, it'll say, like, likely spam or some shit, just if you just don't have it saved. So, it's, I don't think anything of it. It's just some random phone number that called me at, like, 7 o'clock in the morning. Jeez.
And, call the impound lot. And like, oh, yeah, it just came in. So, fuck. Really? And then I call that number back, and he's like, oh, hey, this is Officer blah, blah, blah. I found your Kia this morning. You may want to, it's at lot 6, which is what they call, the impound lot. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you may want to grab a screwdriver or a set of pliers or something to start it. And I'm like, what?
Well, no, you need a USB fucking phone charger.
But this is what he tells me. So I'm like, where did you find it? And he was like, East 21st and Central. So, like,
Beautiful.
I looked that up, and it's kind of over by like St. Vincent Charity Hospital, like right on the outskirts of downtown.
Yeah.
So then, I go to the fucking inbound lot, which that's like a whole annoying process of things, and I won't get into all that, but then I finally am able, after like an hour, to be able to go like look at my car, because of course they want you to pay, and I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm paying for yet. You know what I mean? Like I have to go see it first. And they drive me,
what an incredible, you have to pay for your car that was stolen from your fucking driveway. You have to pay them to get your beat up car out. Like, that's insane.
The whole thing is like, that's what makes me mad about it, is like these kids that are doing it are not like, I'd feel better if it was like, hey, we stole your Cadillac converter. You know what I mean? And we got some money. Like, they don't even do that.
No.
Like, they just fuck your car up, and then like you're stuck with all these, incoming bills that are a result of it. So it's like you got to pay for the tow, you got to pay for the fucking storage at the place, all that shit. And so I get back there, and like I'm like, my car was running, like it was on. Like they drive me back into this lot, and I'm like, they're like, all right, we'll come back in 5 minutes, after you look at it, and we'll pick you back up, because they got to, like, it's like fucking, there's 12,000 cars in there. So they got to drive me back, deep into this thing. And I like, I'm like, it's fucking running. Like it's just on. I'm like, you guys don't shut it off? They're like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, it's been running for 6 days. I mean, I did fill it up like on Tuesday night, which is another thing I'm pissed off about.
All that gas.
Yeah, fuck, dude. You seen gas prices?
Sure have.
So like it had like 500 miles or whatever of gas tank. So anyway, it's like it's running and it's all fucked up, and like they crashed it up, like on anybody that's like follows me on social media, I've posted a bunch of pictures, but it's all fucked up, and the steering column is all torn up, and like I literally, to shut it off, I found they left like 10 phone chargers in my car. So like I picked one up, and like I like put it in and shut the car off. And there's like fucking blunts and like snacks all over my car. Like they were just they put fake tints, like shitty like window cling tint up in my car.
That's incredible.
They were just having a time for 6 days, and like, stole some shit out of there, stole like all the new podcast equipment, like the mics and the XLR cords, but left the recorder because they probably didn't know what the fuck it was.
That just shows you, I told you in a text, like, that just shows you the level of intelligence we're working with here, because it's one thing to be like, well, they didn't know what it, like you said, well, they probably didn't even know what it was. It was with the other audio shit. Like, how do you not know that has got to be worth the most amount of money? Like, they for sure took those microphone cables and mics and took them to like a pawn shop. But how do you not know that the Zoom is worth more? Like, that's what the level of criminal you're dealing with.
Right. I mean, and they probably just didn't know how it worked. And so like I have that, but I haven't even checked to see if it even fucking worked, because it was like
it's beat to shit.
Yeah, it was like fucking under pile of shit in the car, like, and they like left clothes in my car, like all kinds of weird fucking shit. Like I had 2 months worth of Patreon packages in the trunk, like those are gone.
What do you that just went in a dumpster somewhere, you think, probably, huh? Once they open it up and see what it is, they're like, we don't want this. They just throw it all away.
Either that, or they're going to be trying to use those old AIW All Access passes that were in there.
They show up to the shows with them.
Yeah, and I mean, they just went through shit, and like, I don't know, like, I was like, that's another thing. Then like I call the cops back, and I'm like, there's like a fucking ton of evidence in this car. Like, are you sure you don't want to come back and look at this? Like, there's like half-smoked blunts and cigarettes and like all kinds of shit like everywhere, and I'm like, none of this is mine. Like, like you don't want to take any of this stuff. And they're like, no, we found a cell phone we're going to try to get into.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, like there's literally like all this other shit in here. But I was like, what am I supposed to do? They're like, well, you can pay the $70 and, the plus storage and take your car home. And I'm like, to do what with, what the fuck? And so then I called my insurance and I'm arguing with them and I'm like, you need to come get this fucking car because like I'm gonna bring it home and it's just gonna get stolen again. It's like it doesn't even lock anymore. Like have to start it with.
That was my question. I was gonna ask you, did they bust the locks in to get in? Because you said they didn't break the windows.
I don't know how they got in, and like to be honest, like the way it was parked, it was like so tight on the driver's side. Like I didn't really look that much, but it didn't look like anything was like really beat up on that, so I have no idea. But I just know that like it's not a key fob, but whatever you call it, the little like your little fucking thing on your keychain that locks and unlocks and pops the trunk. It's like not a fob, but whatever it is.
Yeah,
that did not work at all anymore. Like nothing worked on that. Like no lock, no trunk, no anything. So I don't know what the fuck they do on that end to the locks and electrical shit once they fuck it all up, but none of that worked because I had to like crawl into the car to like hit the trunk thing on the door to get the trunk to open so I can check and see if any of that shit was still in the trunk, which it was not. So
fuck.
And now it's like an even longer waiting game because now I got to wait for my insurance to go get it. They got to tow it to wherever the fuck they tow it. Then they got to have an adjuster look at it. And then if they deem like it's not totaled, because it's like if you were able to fix these few things, like it wouldn't be in that bad of shape. It needs some body work and it obviously needs a whole new fucking ignition and all that. Like, but from what I'm told, like all those parts for Kias are like 6 to 8 months back order.
Yeah, because everyone's car is getting stolen.
Right, because it's a nationwide problem. So it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. So like that. So now it's like that's even more of a frustrating situation.
Thank God you got that extra car, though. I mean,
like if I didn't have this car to drive, I'd be totally fucked. So
right,
I mean,
right.
That was a really long-winded explanation as to why we haven't been having a podcast last week.
Yeah, well, I'm sure
we were gonna record. We were supposed to record last Wednesday.
Yeah,
I was like, my car's fucking stolen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure people understand. And like I said, anyone who's friends with you on social media or anything like that has seen the pictures. So I think everyone kind of gave us a little bit of leeway. But I did hit you up. I put the word out there. So we should. I don't know if you're still busy. I know you're, had to deal with all that stuff. But we should, squeeze one out here this week to give everybody something to listen to on their way to the show this week. Do you think you're gonna be all right by Saturday? You're gonna be in the right headspace to get to take care of everything on Saturday? You're gonna be worried? You're gonna be like me? Because every time I park my fucking Kia, I'm worried that's the last time I'm ever gonna see it.
Dude, like honestly, I don't know. Like it was like I was like mad when it happened, but then it's like I don't know. And like you watch a million fucking Kia Boys YouTube videos, and you know what they're doing to the car. But like once you see it, it's like a whole other like new like wrinkle of anger, because it's like fuck, like they literally just fucked my car up for fucking 6 days. Like that's all they did. Like they didn't even need it, like they just fucked it up.
Yep.
And they'll probably never get caught, and like then there's like the whole other level of like they obviously know where I live, like stole my ID, know my name, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, your work ID, right? Was you said was in the car,
right? Jeez. Like, know where I work, know where I live, know what I look like, know what my name is, like all this shit. Like, there's AIW shit all over in the car too, so like they can make that connection, if they really looked hard enough. So it's just like, I'm sure nothing's gonna happen, but like you have this, like you have that like in the back of your head now too, like. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Am I gonna walk outside? There's gonna be 4 dudes out there, like, because that's another kind of thing. Once you look at the car, you realize like, oh, this like wasn't like a kid that was joyriding it. It was like multiple people, because there's fucking ashes all over the back seat, and shit's all fucked up in the back seat too, and then in the passenger seat. So it's a minimum of 4 people were involved in it. So, it's just shit like that. You're just like, what, now what the fuck? Do I got to get cameras at my house? Like,
I would immediately. I've been having cameras at my house, but
you know what I mean? Like now that's, that's a whole other financial thing. Like if my car's fucked, like then I got to buy a new car. Like buying a new car right now is not the best time to do so.
Interest rates are
just
right
a lot
now.
of, it's just a lot of fucking dumb shit that's like been going on this week, and it's probably not going to be over with anytime soon,
Yeah, that one's gonna be a problem you're gonna have to deal with, unfortunately, because like you said, everything is just so backed up with it because it's just such a huge problem all over that it's not just like happening here that you're like the umpteenth person on the list. You know what I mean? You're way down the list of like what's gonna, insurance wise, parts wise. You know what I mean? It's fucking a problem.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I haven't heard anything from the cops like since they told me the car was picked up. Like I didn't hear anything today. It was like, okay, like looking at my phone all day, like like is anybody gonna fucking call me today and give me some news? So it was really nothing. It's just a real frustrating situation, and I know a lot of people are having to deal with it, and some people may think it's like whatever, but like it's such a fucking like ongoing problem, like an ongoing nuisance in your life, that like you shouldn't have to deal with. And like I would feel like less mad about it if I knew like, oh, they needed money, like they fucking sold the fucking stolen parts. Like none of that happened,
No.
It's just like they fucked it all up to cost me money.
Your car was a party zone for 6 days that they basically just didn't give a shit what happened in it.
Right, and like who knows what the fuck went on in it, and it's like it's just like it smelled bad, you know what I mean? Like it's all fucked up. Like
yeah,
it's like you don't even want the car back.
At least they didn't shit in your car, dude.
Right, like, but it's like you don't even want your car back, you know what I mean? Like you don't know what the fuck.
That's kind of my next question. What if you're just on that border, like, because they said there's things that could be replaced and it's not that bad, fucked up. What if your insurance company's like not gonna offer you, a good enough thing to get a new car?
You're stuck with the car.
Like, yeah, you're stuck with that car. Like, that's the fucking nightmare. That could be a possibility. I think that's the fucking nightmare of it.
Right, and like, I mean, you would have to think that the fucking values of these cars are plummeting.
Oh, sure.
Right, like. Because of like this nationwide problem. So, it's just fucking like, it's just one of those like things that's just like, man, I got to deal with enough fucking bullshit. Now I have to deal with this. It was just like, it's like, you just wanted to just fucking check out for the week. You know what I mean? Like, drown yourself in about fucking 35 beers and like just hope you wake up and it's like it's all fixed, you know what I mean? Like
get you one of those Tito's and blue drinks.
Yeah, that's kind of weak it's been. And like I said, like today would have been the day I just got to check, but now it's like who knows when I'm gonna get a fucking answer.
Right, that was another thing I was gonna say too. You were right. One more day of them not finding it, and you at least get a check. That worst case Ontario, you take the check to a dealership and be like, "Here's my down payment for any model that's not a fucking Kia or a Hyundai."
Right.
And you would at least have your down payment, and maybe a lot of these places are given like first couple months or whatever, yada yada, shit like that. You could be skating for a minute with a decent car. That's like, I want to turn mine in, but me and my wife, we're trying to buy this house. We're trying to get loan to buy a house, and it's like they don't want you. I just got the Kia not too long ago, so I don't want to open up another loan now to have to trade it in and get a new car because that's just gonna set me back even more. And I'm like, fuck, I'm like stuck with this thing now. Like, I'm about to get one of those clubs, dude. I swear.
Yeah, you're going to have to. I mean,
somebody told me there's videos of the people with the club and the criminals literally bending the club because it's not that strong, and they're just bending it and laughing, and then they do the trick. I don't know if that is true or not, but I read that on some comments earlier. Like, there's videos of them bending the club that don't even stop it.
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, it's like, It's so frustrating, and it's like you just feel like a grumpy old man because it's like a fucking TikTok challenge, and you're like this is like what the fucking, this is like what, like, you know, like these people are going to be adults soon, you know, like, because that's what the cops told me too. It's like all teenage kids that are doing it and like fucking shit up, and it's just like, okay, like we're fucking people's lives up over a fucking TikTok challenge, and like there's no fucking, even if they get in trouble, like, and they're teenagers, like, like what the fuck is gonna happen? Like nothing, you know, like,
yeah,
it's just so frustrating. But we should probably talk about wrestling.
Enough
about my car.
Enough about Grand Theft Auto.
We've already talked for 25 minutes. You know, before we even get into it, you know, gotta send thoughts and all that out to Jay Briscoe. That news just broke about an hour before we recorded this. He unfortunately passed away in a car accident. So, you know, just awful news for the wrestling world. Briscoe's worked AIW one time. I think it was Absolution 7. Incredibly memorable day. Everything that you would expect the Briscoes to be like. They were like, tried like so many other times to book them before that and after that, and it just never worked out, be it scheduling or contracts or things like that. But man, just real, like, I don't know how much the story's out there, and like I've heard the story and some of the story, and I'm not gonna, you know, say it if it's not totally out there. But just an awful situation all around, and
yeah,
you know, it's real sad for pro wrestling.
It's a very sad situation, that's for sure. Came out of nowhere. Somebody, I read it online. I said, no way. Like, it's been, like you said, it's been a whirlwind of bad things happening this week. I'm extremely sad.
It's just, yeah, it's super unfortunate. The one thing that I remember about when the Briscoes did AIW is nobody could get, I couldn't get a hold of them all day. Mm-hmm. So like I didn't know if they were coming or they canceled or they were no showing or what, and like radio silence, doors are open, and like we're like, what the fuck? There was this, it was at Turner's Hall, and like there was this door that was chained shut, and like all of a sudden, like, you know, fans are in, like you know, it's like the pre-show like mingling around of fans, you know what I mean, people finding their seats and all that shit. And like we don't know if they're coming. This door that's chained shut, like just swings open. I don't know how they open it up. In walk the Briscoe Brothers, no shirts on, like sweating, like super tan. And I like, you know, I walked up to him. I was like, you know, hey, you know, I'm John. I'm who you guys were, you know, talking with or whatever. And it's like, I wasn't sure if you guys are gonna make it. It's like, oh no, we've been in town all day. We went to the zoo. We've been at the zoo all day.
Yes.
He's like, you ever see those gorillas at the Cleveland Zoo? They got some big fucking gorillas. And I was like, yeah, I've seen the gorillas at the zoo. Like, man, we love going to the zoo. And then they just went to the back and like started getting ready.
Because Turner's isn't super far from that area either. Like, that's just great. Right. They're like, we're busy. We had stuff to do this morning. Like, we got here.
They just spent the whole day at the zoo.
Man, well, yeah, thoughts and prayers, everything, you know, all that's to the Briscoe family. But extremely sad to hear, so. Well, if you would like to, I don't really know how you transition away from that, unfortunately. I don't really, know what to say from that. But if you would like to discuss a little bit of AIW wrestling, John, no.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a show on Saturday that we should probably remind people about. You know, tickets aren't super great, so
a new venue, kind of. I wouldn't say a brand new debuting area because we were there in Kent, but a little bit of an area we haven't covered much. So if you're in the Kent area, we will be in your area on Saturday.
Yeah, it's gonna. I would still consider it new. You know what I mean? We did like that one show, like right in the end of summer and early September there. It was like a trial situation. The people who we were working with at the Odeon have like moved out there and are, booking things out there. So they want to try to see if they can get AIW cooking out there. It's more of like, the outdoor space is huge. There's like no capacity limits out there, which I think could be really sweet during the summertime if we can get that popping off. Dude, or like even in late spring, like do something in like May outside, if it lines up before college lets out.
We've had discussions about that place. That is a sweet space.
But we're going to do it on the inside, which is going to be more like a Winchester vibe. You know what I mean? We are trying the brand new ring out that we just purchased in there on Saturday. Mm-hmm. It's going to be, limited capacity. Like, we're capping things at like 150 or 200. Because we don't know what it's going to be like once the ring's up in there. It's like, it's like a big room, like there's a lot of places to kind of move around in there, but where the ring's going to go, we just don't know how many people are going to fit. So that is also a trial and error. You know what I mean? We can get it set up and we'll be like, oh, we can fit fucking 500 people in here, or we can get it set up and you can fit 200 people in there. You know what I mean? So we're seeing what happens.
I think it's going to be a tight squeeze, and I say that in a good way, whereas I think this is going to be a show, and especially if it does well and sells whatever we draw well, a show going forward that you're going to get like a good close-up kind of feel, an intimate feel of wrestling there, where it was almost like, do you remember that? Of course you remember, but do you remember Tequila Jack's, whatever that bar? I think it's going to be more of that, where it's going to be real in your face, real close. You can get as close as you want. I know Akron and the Odeon, it's pretty close, tight up on the ring, but it still has this big room kind of feel to it. I feel like this place will give it a feel where you're like, yeah, I'm right on top of this shit. Like I feel like this will be a very intimate type setting that will be enjoyable for that type of fan.
Right, and I think it's it's a fun show, but like it is the unknown, out there in Kent. We only did the one thing. It did not do well, crowd wise. It's it's looking a little better right now than that one, but like we're certainly not anywhere near hitting that cap just yet. So yeah, it's to be determined if we go back there, how it's going to go. Obviously they would like for it to be successful so we can, add some more kind of these, just kind of like looser shows, and like
a house show.
Like I said, I wouldn't call it a house show, but it's like, we're able to really focus on some of the newer students on these type of shows. And, there's, with not having to sell so many tickets and things like that, we don't have to run the budget up too high as far as, fly-ins and things like that for talent. So I hope it does well, because for the sake of, all of especially the newer debuted people, they need gigs like this to where they can get in there and really, get time and be able to have reps in front of a live crowd that they maybe couldn't do in a building like the Shrine that we have to worry about, filling to capacity, or attempting to fill to capacity.
A hot crowd too. Some of these shows, like I said, I felt like the Winchester show, there's been some hot crowds on these tighter, like bar show, whatever, for lack of a better word, bar show like that. Some of these places like this where it's a bar and there's drinks are flowing, it's a Saturday night, people are going to be feeling good. That's a nice hot crowd to be working in front of for some of these new people, which will be a newer experience for them if they've got on a few of the bigger shows or a tad more where, they just kind of snuck in there. So it was kind of a bigger exposure, but, not as tight and right on top of the crowd.
Right. And, I just think it's, if we could pull, 150 in there, I think they will be ecstatic with that, since it is such a tight space. So that's the goal right now. We still have a while to go to hit that, but I'm looking forward to it. I think, we put together a good card. Like I said, focusing on a lot of these newer people and putting them in there with, different veterans and things like that, to where I really think that the show, especially in this new ring, and there's like so much to look forward to about it. We get to use that for the first time, and just there's a lot to look forward to, and if we're able to kind of eliminate that. I'm trying to think of the word. The limitations that we had in our old ring, I think this show will also set the precedent for our Winchester schedule that is coming up in 2023, and those shows will drastically improve as far as the in-ring goes as well. So like there's a lot kind of that I'm personally, and I know a lot of the other guys are looking forward to about the show Saturday. Other than the card, it's like, let's get in there in this new ring. Let's work the kinks out on that thing. Because then, we don't have to do these kind of limited talent shows at the Winchester either. Like, we can bring people in to work with the new students. And then, you can phase out some of the more experienced veteran students on these bar shows, because you don't want to spend money on this big marquee talent and then say, hey, the ropes don't stay tight. Like, right. You know what I mean? All the problems that we had with that other ring. Now there's a lot of potential to really spice things up. Not only at the Winchester, but at the Outpost, and maybe if, some other locations where we need to use that ring pop up, we really aren't kind of backed into a corner anymore. And that's really what I'm looking forward to, is like, I want to see this ring, because we haven't even put it up yet. Like it's been in storage since we picked it up. So we're setting it up for the first time Saturday, and we're gonna, it's gonna be like a, I can't think of the word.
Debut run for the ring here.
But yeah, it's going to be like, like we're doing it live. Like there's no fucking test run or anything, like we're setting it up on Saturday, and, Pedro's bringing the fucking directions that came with it. And, we're getting there early and we're putting it together, and, we're just we're going for it on Saturday. And, I think that, like I said, that brings a lot of potential to the other Winchester or, quote unquote bar gigs going forward, because if we have a ring that works the way it's supposed to, everything is going to drastically improve in ring wise.
Could you imagine the match? Because I mean, the match they had in the ring in the low boy when it was like totally fucked up. Janela, I want to say it was Janela Alex Shelley for Janela, the send off for Janela,
and that ring was totally broken.
Broken. Could you imagine the match they have in the new one where there's like no limitations and you just say, hey, just go out there and fucking do it? That's what we got coming for us, I guess. Is
that's what I'm excited about. Is we bit the bullet and we invested in it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in action. And if this show, like I said, if the show does well enough, we'll try to throw some other shows out in the Kent area on the schedule as well. So we can get some more kind of reps in for these guys that and girls that aren't getting a lot of match time on what you would call the regular or marquee AIW schedule.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see this new ring and see everyone's thoughts, because the funny thing is too, as soon as they're all going to say what they think about it, as soon as they come through the ring, through the curtain, they're like, oh, that was great or that was bad, and I'm going to get to hear it all as soon as they come through. So
and I think we have a real good card.
Yeah, do you want to get into that a little bit? What do you think? Sure. I know I doubt the list you have me is the order we're going to go in, but there's a couple things that I'm really excited for. One is we're going to see two big men going at it. We're going to see PB Smooth versus Big Sam Holloway, and I think this is going to be a great match. It's going to be a proving match, I think, for both wrestlers a little bit. Sam, kind of the newer guy, green guy, but we haven't seen PB since he wrestled Broner, right? Was the last, I want to say that was the last PB match.
Absolution.
Yeah, I mean
Absolution.
it's been a minute since we've seen PB, so he's got some things and some work to do in AIW. It's been a minute for him, and I'm excited for that match.
This is also a proving match for the ring,
Right? Yeah, starting out hot and heavy,
putting two of the biggest brothers in there, and making sure this ring can withstand it. Because I don't know if we even got into it, but Sam Holloway broke the regular ring at the last Akron show when he did that dive.
And we all heard it too. Do you remember? Yeah, you were standing right there, I think, right by doing camera, and we all heard it go, and we were like, everyone, I think in unison was like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, when he hit the ropes real hard for his dive,
yeah.
He like snapped the cables underneath the ring.
Right, it was the cable that connects to the Hellraiser snapped when he hit the fucking ropes, and it just let out a sound, and everybody was like, "Oh, that was not good." So yeah, we're gonna test that out for quick first show out. We're gonna put two big boys in there and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I figured sink or swim, right? Like let's just throw it out there and see what happens. And it's a good test for it's a good test for Sam, and it's also additionally a good test to see how PB, if he can bounce back from the loss at Absolution, because we haven't seen him in 6-7 months. Right,
and it's against the guy that it's not somebody he's faced before or he's familiar with too. This is gonna be a brand new opponent, a big opponent. PB's a big guy. He's used to kind of looking down at guys or having anyone typically be a little bit smaller than him or tall. He's always taller at the very least. This is going to be another guy who's going to be looking straight across at him, and that's probably going to be that's not familiar territory. He doesn't do that too often, so.
Right. Yeah. So I really wanted to put together a card that was, interesting. I didn't want it to come off like this student lineup. You know what I mean? Like I really wanted to, see what I can pull together, and I'm really happy with it. I don't know if the fans are happy with it or not. You know what I mean? That's always the hardest thing to gauge. Like is this one going to be burning up the Fight Plus on Saturday? I don't know. You know what I mean? But I think our core fan base likes seeing the progression of everybody, and I think this card really, really speaks to that.
I think two different reasons. One, I think it's you got to see some of these guys have proven themselves, in my opinion, not totally, but there's been some spots in some of these matches where some of these newer guys, I won't even call them students anymore, but recently debuted students are really starting to kind of make their way in AIW. But also, I mean, this is professional wrestling. You got to see people wrestle and have matches to gauge your opinion on them either way, whether you like them or you hate them. So even if there's some of these newer debuting students that you maybe don't love or you maybe you like them a little bit, you're going to have to see them and have to see them on shows and have matches to really start actually forming opinion on them and seeing what they're about. You can't just watch a guy wrestle once and go, he doesn't like, screw this guy. And then, at least in my opinion, I want to see these guys to build an opinion on some of the newer debuted students.
And you got to put them in situations where they can fail, where they can succeed, right. All of that, like sink or swim sort of stuff. So I think there's a lot of that on the show. I don't know if we got to run it all down or not, but I really took a lot of time on putting this together and maneuver different things around and really wanted to try to make it stand out and be its own kind of unique standalone show. Whether people support it or not, I don't know, but I hope so. For the sake of, like I said, adding an additional, quarterly stop or, 2-a-year stop in the Kent area, it does everybody good.
I just think, it just does so much good for everybody. I think it does good for the wrestlers, but also for the fans. It's giving you more options of people to like or hate, and that's what we're in the business of. This is professional wrestling. It's about entertainment and fun and having a good time or hating a guy or liking a guy or girl, whatever, the phrase you want to use. You have to see these people. You can't just, you know what I mean? So we got to get them more reps and get them out there to, to really, like you said, it's a sink or swim moment, and I think the card is full of them. Another one, AJ, my guy Austin James, hailing from the Diamonds of Brook Park, versus Cisco Silver. Now, Cisco, he seems to just be, he's gonna run through the debuted students and just kind of like go down the block and test them all and see how it's going, because him and Shaw Mason had quite the three match run, and now we're gonna see him with AJ, another recently debuted student. I'm pretty excited for this one as well.
And I believe that the last time we were in Kent, he took on Tyson Riggs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right, at Westapalooza, correct.
Which, update on all that stuff, I know people continue to ask. I've started the process of sending some of the more recent shows to Fight Plus. I've been working on that, and then obviously, the car situation and all that other stuff kind of sidetracked me a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I'm learning about FTP servers and all this stuff I never heard of. So, there's a little bit of a learning curve on my end, but the process has started. So I'm hopeful in the next couple weeks you'll see some of these shows. Like Westapalooza is one that, was one of our test run ones that we put on YouTube and then pulled down. So hopefully, we're able to get some of that stuff up for everybody. But I think Cisco has a ton of upside, and so does Austin James. You know what I mean? I think he's one of those. He's like someone like Shaw Mason has really like clicked with in ring and fans, and someone like Austin James is like a person that is like right on the cusp of that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think he just needs more solid in-ring performances for people to really buy in. And I think this is a good opportunity. Like Cisco obviously has proven that he can go. You can almost give him 100% of the credit for Shaw Mason's, kind of, emergence, so to speak, to, breaking through onto the main shows. You can't say Shaw Mason without mentioning Cisco Silver and the integral role like he had in that. So absolutely, really looking forward to this one, and giving them some time to really get out there and put some work in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you get over the way that Shaw Mason's got over if you're just beating up some bum. I mean, that's easy to beat, or everyone's Shaw Cisco is a guy who's he can go with anybody. So that Shaw taking him to the limits. That's how you build that with the crowd. But I think, like you said, AJ's right on the cusp of that. He's had some great moments in some of these scrambles and some of the tag stuff that they've been in, and now with a singles opportunity, I think it's going to be a definite sink or swim moment, and Cisco's a great guy to have that against, because I think he elevates guys to a level where they can connect with the crowd, because whether you love Cisco or you hate him, I don't think anybody's tepid on Cisco Silver. You either love him or you really hate him, so it's a good opportunity for guys like AJ to kind of really learn what it's like to get the crowd on your side and run with it like that. I think Shaw did.
Yeah, I agree.
What else do we got here? Anything else? Any other matches you're excited for that you really want to see what can happen out there? Any of the sink or swim moments you're looking forward to on the card here?
Kaplan versus Tyson Riggs.
Yeah. Oh yes. Kaplan. Can't wait to see him.
This is one right out of UFC 1. You know what I mean? The barroom brawler against this fucking karate guy.
Just two guys going out there slugging it out and seeing which style comes out victorious.
I'm looking forward to that one. Chase Oliver and Anthony Young from Pittsburgh. I'm looking forward to that. Some people may remember he had the unfortunate draw of wrestling Isaiah Broner at one of those Winchester shows.
We
all know who that went. H2V2 against PME. H2V2, I think they have a ton of athleticism, great charisma. Yeah. Haven't totally put it together in the ring yet, but some wily veterans like PME may be able to bring it out of them, or send them packing, send them back to the showers.
Yeah, I think that one is going to be a great match as far as what you're saying is like H2V2 kind of really finding who they are, because they've taken steps, little by little here. There was some move around on the card at Hell on Earth, and they got a shot out there, and I think they made some moves there, and this is just going to be a follow-up, another step in line to try and put it together, because I think they're a great tag team. I think they work well together. They are singles wrestlers, but they've been put into positions with things happen, card changes, this or that, where that's why they put together now as a tag on purpose, because when they were just kind of thrown together as debuting student class, they worked really well together. And I think, PME is a great test for them, because another team, there's nobody's tepid on PME. It's love or hate with the boys from Erotic City.
Right, and speaking of Shaw Mason, he's going to get in there in a singles with Lewis Linden of 9 to 5. No Jack Verville. Lewis Linden, love him or hate him, highly decorated singles wrestler in the AIW record books. So a huge test for Shaw Mason. Really looking forward to that. And then you have Dominic Guarini versus Sid Von England.
Real quick, did Jack? He got called in for Sunday. Lumberg made him work on a Sunday, huh? That's why he's
Saturday.
Not on the show.
He's got Saturday. Yeah, he's got to work. He's got to pull a shift on Saturday night.
Right, he's working, so he's working late.
Can't make it.
The Bone Collector, you said, versus Sid Von England. That should be an interesting matchup. We've never seen any, that matchup in AIW. That should be
right. This is another big opportunity for Sid Von England. You've seen him do things here and there. And now it's here you go. You know what I mean? Throw him to the Sharks and see what happens. There's a lot of potential upsets on here too. Imagine if Sid pins Dom. Where does that put him on the roster?
Yeah, because Sid has Aiden at his side, and Dom doesn't have anyone in his corner, and you never know, that things like that come into play. So, yeah, Dom's going to have to be on his toes for that one.
We're going to get a chance to see Ziggy Haim in the ring against Kayla Cassidy.
Another singles opportunity.
Shows like this give us the opportunity to, feature Ziggy. She doesn't necessarily have to be associated with Derek so closely, like she is on the big shows. That's just the way that the cards fall a lot of the time. But we were able to take this opportunity to, put her in an opportunity to showcase herself as a wrestler as well. Against debuting Kayla Cassidy, who's comes highly recommended from tons of people, and I'm looking forward to seeing her wrestle for the first time as well. And then you get into the two big tag matches to close out the night. Members only taking on the reuniting Rip City Shooters, and Bulking Season getting their tag team title rematch against the Bitcoin Boys.
Real quick, members only. I think Malcolm maybe was the one, or Calvin posted it, but they have called out the entire roster since they debuted. So now this one is no different. I know they're pretty tight with the Rip City Boys, but we're going to see what happens in that one. I'm excited for that one. But yeah, and new tag champs, Bitcoin Boys versus Bulking Season. That's going to, if Artie, he was upset after that loss. He was fired up. He was pretty pissed off, if I'd say. Him and Chuck were not pleased with the result of that match, so I'm very curious to see how the rematch is going to go, because it hasn't been that long. Sometimes these rematches, after a title change, sometimes it takes a minute to get it on a show or, something like that. It has not been that long since those titles were dropped and changed hands. So I'm very excited to see, the blood is still boiling for Chuck and Artie.
Right. Did you watch the video package that I put out with all those
yes
promos?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I know he was mad. Artie was mad after that show, so yeah.
Did you notice that background music?
I didn't hear the background. That's not ringing a bell.
Very faint. It's very faint.
Okay, yeah, I didn't notice the background music. I'll have to go back.
Yeah, you have to go back. It's got some Jags backing tracks.
Oh, the Jags were on there? Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. We gotta book them, man. We gotta get them out to a show. This one, you never know. If this comes highly attended, this could be a place, where you get that ring broken down. You could have a show there.
Yeah, yeah. So, I think it's a good card. Obviously, I always think they look like good cards before they happen, or else I wouldn't put them out. But it is going to stream live on Fight Plus. Please continue to watch our shows on Fight Plus. I know, it's been a slow burn and getting stuff over there. But the more you watch, the more it helps us. Only $4.99 a month. You really can't beat it for everything that you get. And then, obviously it stays up on demand, after it's live. Multiple streams on Saturday. I don't expect us to be burning up the ratings in competition. But I think it's a great show, and I think everybody, whether you watch it live or you watch it on Sunday or Monday or whenever, VOD style, I think it's certainly going to be worth checking out. There's a lot of good opportunities to see a lot of people potentially have their breakout match, and there's also a lot of possibility to see people just have their absolute career breaking match. There's a lot of things. It could go either way. That's what's so exciting about these cards. Especially with the people kind of on the fringe as far as the roster goes, or if you want to call them students or whatever. It could go really good, or it can just be fucking absolutely awful. And I think that makes it exciting. I don't know. It certainly makes me pay attention a little bit more. When we have a regular show, most of the time I don't really have to worry about that. But a show like this, you really got to pay attention and see, who in fact does sink or swim.
Well, especially now too. I think everybody is under a little bit more of a watchful eye, I guess I don't know if that's the right word for it, but now with doing the production and sometimes you're over there on the switchers. I mean, you're not paying there's no possible way to pay more attention than what you're doing. So you're watching it all, right. You're really taking everything in. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, tickets, $20.
It's a steal.
You could do the $5, early entry thing, it's all GA. So, how close you get to the ring is first come, first serve. I don't think they may have some chairs. I would not anticipate there to be fucking rows of chairs. So you just go in anticipating it could be a standing room only situation.
Is it?
And yeah,
is it sometimes I know people, is it a BYO chair situation? If you want to bring a lawn chair, are you allowed to do that? You may not be able to set it up front row, but hey, if you're, towards whatever, you're allowed, is that something people are allowed to do, or?
I really, honestly, I don't know.
No idea.
I don't know what it's all, I can't say that, you know what I mean? Because I don't know what it's going to look like once it's, the ring's up, and, we don't even know what the fucking locker room's going to be. So,
yeah.
There's a lot of unknowns heading into this thing, but
yeah, there's gonna be a lot to do on Saturday. I said it's luckily for me, I have a very limited setup this show, with using a concert club like that. They have their own speakers and all that stuff, typical, similar to the Odeon. So I'm going to have a lot of extra time, and I feel like it's going to be used up because there's going to be a lot to do on Saturday, I think.
If only I had a full podcast setup, you could have knocked out some pots.
I could probably, I don't know if my Zoom is in storage or what, but I can see if I can rustle something out. Maybe we can get some people, just get something on record that, put something out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how exciting this was of a podcast. I spent 25 minutes bitching about my fucking car theft, but
you'd be surprised. I think people want to know about that kind of shit,
We're back in the game. Even recording this, I feel a little just disconnected from everything. You know what I mean? I'm trying to hype this show up on Saturday, but I feel kind of so also disconnected from it. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. There's a mental block just with everything that's gone on over the last week, and it's just so I don't know. Like it's I'm in a weird headspace about the whole thing, if that makes sense.
No, I completely understand. I mean, you'd have to think anybody, who's drives a motor vehicle and owns their car, has a car, whatever, feels, the same way if you woke up and you looked in your driveway and that shit wasn't there. So, all right. Well, anything else you want to get in here before we get out of here, John?
No, I mean, buy a ticket, buy some merch. I'm probably going to have to buy a car or something soon. So my AIW emergency fund, from my personal bank account is probably going to be non-existent, I would say, in the very near future. So please, anything you could do to help kind of ease that burden. I'm not asking for a fucking GoFundMe for my car or anything like that. Just like, please, if you could just like support the company so like it could take a little bit of that unknown stress off of me, that would be greatly appreciated, because that's what sucks, is like I don't even fucking know where the chips are gonna fall on this whole fucking thing. I don't know, I know I talked to somebody about buying a car and it was a lot. Like, it's not even a car that you want, and it's like $600-$700 a month, like it's just
they're
crazy, which I can make happen, but like, if a show goes bad and people say, hey, go to the ATM, that's how it works. So I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Like, we made a lot of AIW investments in 2022, really kind of drained the AIW Rainy Day Fund dramatically, between the production equipment and the ring and all that stuff that has gone on, and the ring repairs, that the ring broke at the last show, and we spent a lot of money in 2022 is what I'm trying to say. So
yeah,
if you could buy a ticket or buy some merch or something, you know what I mean, subscribe to Fight Plus, anything you can do to help. I don't want any handouts or anything like that, or I'll figure it out. I'm a fucking adult. It's just very stressful, obviously, thing to deal with.
Sure. And I mean, I think this show is a good opportunity for AIW fans. I mean, this venue, if you haven't been there for the summer or what, I think this is a cool place. Kent is not that far. It's another area, another venue we can go to see, like you said, some unknown talent, some unproven talent. This is another, like, I have a lot of fun. I think a lot of people have fun at these Winchester shows. This could be another similar to the Winchester, another new venue. This could be good for AIW. So come out, support it, or watch it on Fight TV. Hit the merch stand. At the very least, buy John a Tito's and soda, for fuck's sake. But yeah.
Well, I don't know. I got to see if I could get myself a ride out there. I can't be riding Grandma's Lexus around under the influence,
Right,
so.
No, definitely. I'll give you a ride. You can jump in my Kia. At least if it gets stolen, it'll fucking...
That thing's like driving a fucking semi. It's a fucking big old boat, Like,
oh yeah.
You gotta get used to it. I gotta have all my facilities, intact if I'm operating that thing.
No blue.
Not saying that I've ever drink and drove before. I do not advocate for that.
Absolutely not. All right. Well, for John Thorne, for AIW, the card is going to change. My name is Ronald Two Legs, and we'll see you Saturday. Thanks for listening.